Right here. Peace and love, everyone. Turned on volume. Peace and love, everyone. All right, we live. How's everyone doing this evening? It's 9:02. I'm a couple minutes late, but I'm here. I am here. All right, we are live. Peace and love, everyone. Peace and love. As you come into the room this evening for day 3, it is day 3 of the Refine Your Status Revocable Living Trust Challenge. As you come into the room, definitely let me know that you can hear me, you can see me. I love y'all. Y'all are so good to me. Y'all are the best. As you come into the room, let me know if you can hear me or see me. And same routine as yesterday. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from day 2 of the Refine Your Status Revocable Living Trust Challenge. What was your biggest takeaway from day 2 as you pile in? So we're going to take the first few minutes here to just talk about yesterday's lesson. What did you all learn? What was your biggest takeaway? I'm hoping at this point you have already downloaded the guide, right? And you are taking very good notes, and you are, engaging with the challenge, putting down your thoughts as to what you have learned over the last couple of days. What did you learn about what we spoke about the purpose of the Revocable Living Trust? What did you learn yesterday? Let me hear it. Let me see. I want to see what you all learned. All right, good sound, good here. Okay, great. Okay, everything is in the trust. Yes. Tied to the biblical principles, 7-year jubilee, 7 years fall off the credit. Yes. Demetria, you're definitely going to want to go back and watch yesterday's lesson. I try to keep the videos short because I know that you all are busy. I'm trying to get in and get out with the principles, right? Trying to get in and get out. So we're trying to keep the videos. I haven't been able to keep it down to 30 minutes so far, but y'all know I can be a little bit long-winded. But I'm trying to keep it at least to an hour so that people who are busy can go back and watch it and still stay caught up for the next day, right? Okay, so we got some people talking about clothed and the natural living man. Elaborate on that a little bit for me. What do you mean by clothed? Trust started with the Most High in the creation of his world. Yes. Living trust is our public interface, first layer of defense. Okay, so I've really been paying attention. Y'all really been paying attention. All right, in the consumer credit transactions, you are the grantee settler. Okay, public interface for banking. Yes, it takes me a little time for everything, but Jubilee, 7-year takes the cake. This is awesome. Yes, and so is the Most High, Tammy. He is ever so awesome. So thankful for these lessons, and I'm thankful to be able to deliver these lessons to you all. It's a pleasure for me to do this because I love to teach. And, while I teach folks, it's a learning process for me as well. A lot of refreshers for me. The best way for you to learn is for you to teach, right? One of my mentors told me that. So that is one of the things that I've been utilizing. If there is something that I'm not clear on, once I read it, it's almost like, just like when you read scripture, right? When you go and read it, you may not necessarily understand everything, but as you go through, you get revelations throughout the material. It helps you along the way. Tino says, my biggest takeaway was seeing the tie to scripture. I've heard people say this is a spiritual journey, so I'm definitely intrigued, but yes, utilizing the trust vehicle in this world of commerce. Gratitude. Yes, gratitude. Thank you. All thanks to the Most High. Commerce is foreign to the natural living person. Yes, your gift is teaching. It is a definitely a gift. And I don't even really know. I don't know. I just be wanting to share what I know. Um, I don't know. I really just be wanting to share what I know. I really just be I'm just gonna keep it simple. I really just be wanting to share what I know. Nefertari says you have to sign grantee settler after your signature to assert your signature. Okay, yes. Okay, you all are doing so good. That is awesome. I'm so proud of y'all. And this is the joy that I get because I get to see what you all are learning. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Y'all are really hitting it on the head with what your takeaways was. That is awesome. Oh, there's been many before me, and there will be many after me. I'm just, you know, one out of millions of people who have a gift to teach because there's so many people out there, right? And I try to keep it to a point where people can really understand. I think for me, the thing is that I just wish that I had somebody around like me, like somebody like me to teach me. Because I feel like, I wasted so many years on the wrong stuff. Um, it's just nice to know information that can help somebody else. But I struggled with a lot of things in the past and in my life. I really struggled, and I feel like if I had like somebody to really take the time out to teach me the way that certain things work, then I would definitely be further along. And I'm sorry, y'all, I've been talking all day. I've been on calls all day. So my throat is a little a little tired, but I will do my best this evening to deliver this lesson. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Let me share my screen. And we're going to get into day 3. I'm going to try my best to keep it to 30 minutes if I can. If I can. We're going to see. We'll see. All right. You all should have your guides out in front of you. Let's see. All right. You all should be able to see my screen. Let me know what you see on the screen. All right, you all should be able to see day 3. It's very interesting, right? One of the definitions that I came across, I want to share it with you all. Let me pull it up here. This definition right here. I thought that this was very interesting. All right, this is coming out of Black's Law, second edition. Second edition. All right, let me know that you all can see. All right, you all can see that, right? Okay, so remember what I said yesterday about definitions, right? The younger the resource, the more watered down the definition is going to be. All right. So this is coming out of Black Second. I want you to turn your attention to the definition of interest. Interest. Okay. It says interest in property. All right. The most general term that can be employed to denote a property in lands or chattels. Okay. In its application to lands or things real, it is frequently used in connection with the terms estate, right, and title. Okay, so this definition goes right along with our topics of discussion, right? Because we're speaking about, on day 1, we spoke about how you all are the source of all values that you have created by way of your signature. You are the source of all values. That's what we covered in the first day, right? And so in the second day, we spoke about the purpose of bringing forth a revocable living trust as it relates to those values, right? Now, day 3, we're going to talk a little bit about how to protect. Now, one of the things I want you all to really think deeply about is this definition right here as it pertains to interest. So if you are the source of all values, meaning every single time that you place your signature on a document, a contract, a bill at the restaurant, when you sign a receipt for gas, whatever the thing is that you're placing your signature upon, there is an immediate interest that is created in the thing, all right, bearing your signature, right? And so what does the definition say? It says that it can be employed to denote a property in land. Okay, now yesterday we went through scripture and we dug a little bit deeper into the definition of land, right? So you all should remember what the definition of land, some of the root meanings of the term land, but what it was, it said world and it said nations. Okay, that's what we went over yesterday. Okay, so if the interest, it says here that it denotes a property. So in essence, what is it saying? It denotes a property in lands or chattel. So when I look at this definition, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so basically what this is saying is that my interest is my property. My interest is my property. Okay, my interest is my property. So when we look at assets in terms of protection, now I know people have spoken about trusts over the years, and usually when they speak about asset protection, they're speaking about how to protect a house or a car, something tangible that you can hold in your hand, right? But not too often do you hear people speaking about other types of assets, intangible assets that most people don't think about. So if your interest is your property, isn't that something that we would think should be protected in some way, shape, or form? Because it's your interest. Any piece of paper that has that signature on it, you have a beneficial interest in that thing, that document that is bearing your signature, right? And so that interest should be protected. It should be protected. And so part of the issue is that when we go, let's say we go to enter into a consumer credit transaction, we go to the dealership and we go to sign for a car loan, right? And you all can probably go back and pull out your documentation that you signed for the car loan. You read your contract. What does it say? It says you are granting us a security interest in this vehicle. That's what it says. You are granting us a security interest. Now, the thing about the difference between the interest that you have and the difference between the interest that the dealership has is that the dealership has been granted a security interest where you have 100% absolute ownership interest. Based off of this definition, this is Black's second. You created the values, okay, in that contract. Your signature is the money. Okay, so that's taking us back to day one, where we're talking about I am the source of all values and derivatives created by way of my signature. So you have a 100% absolute beneficial owner interest in whatever it is that you bring forth by way of your signature. All right, so when we're talking about asset protection, these are the principles that we want to bring into when we go and create the trust vehicle, and we are thinking about, okay, well, what are some of the assets that I need to place inside of the trust? You're going to want to think about all of your interest out there. Oh, and we got a whole lot of interest out there. Not only do we have interest in all of the accounts, we have interest in anything bearing the name, anything that came about as a derivative, your credit accounts, your loans, your credit reports, your driver's license, any and everything that bears the name and the signature. You have 100% absolute interest. All right. So now that we have established what the property is that needs to be protected, let's talk a little bit about how you go about protecting that property. All right. Are y'all following me? Put some fireballs in the chat if you are following what I'm saying. Let me see them fireballs. Let me see them fireballs. He says, mind just blown. It's deep. It gets very, very deep. It really, really does. Eddie says, we sign these things and walk away from our signature, therefore walking away from the most important part. Yes, 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 yes. Let me see those fireballs. Is everybody grasping the concept of interest is your property? Your interest is your property. All right, your interest is, okay. Yes, 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 yes. Your interest is your property. Mm-hmm. That's right. All right, good deal. All right, so y'all are getting it. I needed y'all to get this, because this, and when you really think about it, it's really easy. It is really, really, I mean, it's easy once you know that you're the source. All right, that's why we had to have this discussion in phases. It's easy when you know that you're the source. All right, so now you know that because you're the source, you have interest in everything bearing the signature, right? All right, okay, so let's move on. And let me see, I'm gonna pull this back over. And all right, so what is our guide telling us? What is our guide telling us? Let's pull this back up here, share my screen again. What is the guide telling us? All right, during the grantee's lifetime, the debts belonging to the assessed individual can be deposited as trust and converted into an asset. Now, the thing of the matter is that, yes, I put the word debts. I did that in a way so that you would be, I'm using a term that you all would know, okay? Debts, all right? They call it a debt. They pushed us into a debtor-creditor relationship. But in essence, all of these debts are assets because we have 100% beneficial owner interest, absolute interest in the debt. So I can't remember which day I mentioned it. It may have been on day one, where I said, how is it that you can be pushed into a debtor position when you created the value? So this is where you look at the property, your interest, in terms of converting it into an asset. Okay, that becomes an asset to you. Here's why. Your 100% absolute ownership interest is superior to that of the interest of the creditor. They have a subordinate interest. Their interest is subordinate to yours, meaning it comes in second position. Your interest is superior to them. And the issue always goes back to, yes, we're operating through trust relationships. We failed to properly express the trust. They construed the trust and they pushed us into a better position and they flipped it on us. Okay, they did flip it, deceiving us into believing that their interest or their claim is superior to ours, and it is quite the opposite. It is quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. Y'all are lit in this chat. Y'all are lit in this chat. Okay, so this is how you begin to protect your assets, because you use the revocable living trust as a conduit to move the values, right? You move the values. Now, we won't get into the details, the entry, because it is a very heavy, high-level process, okay, in order to be able to efficiently deal with taking a debt and converting it into an asset to express your beneficial ownership interest. It is a very, very high level process. Okay, but remember, this is a 5-day challenge. I'm here to give you all the principles, and then of course after the challenge you're going to take all of these principles and you're going to go study, or there's going to maybe some other things available for you at the end of the challenge. But the idea is for you to know that your debts are indeed an asset, okay? The key to dealing with asset protection by way of a revocable living trust is to identify your interest, express your beneficial ownership interest, and take the debt right? And convert it into an asset. Now, this is where we get into dealing with the concepts of title merge, all right? You have a superior interest claim, and then you have a inferior interest claim. So the idea for title merge is for the higher claim to absorb the smaller. The higher claim, which is the 100% beneficial ownership claim, absorbs the smaller claim, right? And so this is when you get back into flipping your position back into a superior position within that trust relationship, because you're expressing your interest in the right way, where the creditor or whomever has no choice but to recognize you for who you are as having a superior claim. All right. This is a strategy. This is not something that we're doing on the defense. Okay, I get it. It's not something that we want to do on the defense, but I get it. Most people will fall into something like this on the defense because somebody's coming after them for something, or they're saying that you owe money, you're being sued, that sort of thing. But this is a strategy that you can actually do on the offense before any sort of action is being brought against you. You can do this on offense, right? So this is something that you can actually plan out based on where you are now, even with your bills being paid on time. This is something that you can do now. You don't have to wait until someone's attacking you or coming after you, claiming that you owe them money. This isn't something that you have to wait to do. Let's see. Angela says, I've been going through my old contracts all day, reading the securities interest and fine print, and it's all in there in the paperwork. It's a lot of reading, but I'm happy to learn new things every day. Thank you for this challenge. You are most certainly welcome, my dear. That's why I'm here. I'm always coming to try to enlighten folks and bring information. Now, one of the things that I want you all to do too is remember that I have the Get Ready Contract Guide on the website. It's a free download. If you go to, and someone can put this in the chat, if you go to www.tamratbush.com, on the very first page, I think it's the home page, you can actually download a free guide. Okay, because what'll happen is when you download that guide, it's going to give you some laws in there to look for in your contracts. All right. And it's going to tell you, hey, is this in your contract? Is this in your contract? If this isn't in your contract, right, it's going to give you some principles to look for in your agreements. And so you take information like that, and then you take information like this, right? And you sort of devise a strategy based on how you want to attack whatever the thing is, the debt is. Now, you got to be really careful when operating from a trust perspective, because when you're coming from a trust perspective, you really don't want to use the laws, codes, and the statutes. You want to use the principles that the laws, the codes, and the statutes represent, right? If you're coming from a trust perspective, and if you are indicating that you're coming from a higher jurisdiction, or you're a non-US citizen, then you definitely don't want to use the laws, codes, and the statutes. You want to use the principles that those things represent. And you don't have to necessarily cite the laws, the codes, and the statutes in your paperwork. You don't have to do that. Use the principles, and you will still be stating a claim upon which relief can be granted. All right. So the purpose of making sure that you properly identify your interest is to move in a direction where you can begin to reroute the values, the stolen values from your estate back through the trust, back to its intended 100% beneficial owner. Okay, this is the direction that we want to be working in. So you want to devise your paperwork, strategize around your paperwork to ensure that you're coming from that perspective. And I can guarantee you that you will get a good response. All right, we have to think strategy and not put ourselves in a position of being on the defensive all the time. We want to be on offense. We want to be on offense. Thank you all so much for putting that in the chat. I appreciate you. I do appreciate you. We have a superior claim. You all saw the definition of interest, right? And that came from Black's Law Dictionary 2. And I can guarantee you that if you look at a new definition out there, like a more recent definition, you are not going to get that. Okay, I'm going to put this definition back on the screen so that you all can take a picture of it, because this is something that you want to keep in the back of your mind right here. That definition of interest right there. Take a picture of it, screenshot it. Okay. Take a picture, screenshot it. Your interest is your property. So you get on the offense. Offense is when you initiate first. That's when you act first. You get on the offense. That's when you act first. So instead of them coming after you, you go after them, expressing your interest. Okay, so I want you all to do me a favor because we're almost at 30 minutes. Almost at 30 minutes. And you can go back and watch the replay, Benjamin, because it's going to be in the in this group. You can go back and watch the replay. All right, I want you all to definitely go back and let me see. Let me look at the guide. Hold on. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Let's read through the rest of this and then we'll go ahead and close. All right, so the revocable, this is where we are. The revocable living trust can also facilitate banking relationships, conduct transactions, and act in place of the SS individual. All right, and act as a public interface of separation for the living man or woman. The trust is revocable, so the ability to make changes, receive and disperse values, and or revoke the trust entirely is retained. Now, I want you all to answer a question for me. What happens when a trust is collapsed? What happens when a trust is collapsed? What happens? What happens when a trust is collapsed? What are you all's thoughts? What happens when a trust is collapsed? Okay, Russ says bankruptcy. Bernard says it goes to the beneficiaries. Herb says you are not protected. Okay, those are great answers. Probate, Russ says probate. Okay, so when the trust is collapsed, that means that all the values of the trust has been removed. So that could go back to what Bernard says when he says that it goes to the beneficiaries, because if there's no more values left in the trust and there's nothing left to deal with. So let's say, for instance, you take all of your debts and you take different types of debts and you create a trust based on the different categories of debts that you have. And then you move accordingly to deal with the title for each of those debts. And as all of those debts are settled, there's no reason for you to hold on to that trust because it was designed for a very specific purpose. This is the one thing that I love about revocable living trust, is because it's so flexible. You don't have to hold on to it forever. You can create it for a very specific purpose. And once that purpose is done, you can collapse it or you can take it and absorb it into another trust. It's totally up to you. You have flexibility there. You're not stuck. You can move values and move titles in and out of that trust and do whatever it is that you need to do. All right, so you can revoke it after it's complete. That power is in your hands, right? Now, what about the grantee settlor? What about the grantee settlor? Talk to me. Who are you when you sign a document that you receive from a creditor? Who are you? This is going back to day one. What position are you acting in? Okay, but I'll take it a step further. What position are you acting in? Okay, I know you all say grantee. Okay, no, not the beneficiary. When you receive an agreement from a creditor and you sign it, you are the grantee. Okay, taking it a step further. Who Nope, not the trustee. You're not the trustee and you're not the beneficiary. Take it a step further. Who are you? What capacity are you acting in when you take and deposit the debt into a trust? I don't know if y'all gonna know this one, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. When you take and deposit and ask, when you take and deposit, there you go. Gary and Russ, you are the settler. You are the settler. You are performing an action that is going to deal with the settling of the account. You're the settler, right? So when you receive the agreement from the bank, you're the grantee. When you take the debt, the credit card agreement, the whatever, the credit card statement, the loan statement, whatever it is, take it and you deposit it into the trust, you are the settler. This is why you always want to act in grantee settler capacity. All right, grantee settler. So the guide says the grantee settler can operate by lawful means to assign trustees as fiduciaries to give specific orders and instructions prompting performers for the purpose of rerouting stolen values back to the trust. The grantee settler operates with purpose to maintain proper structure and flow of values with regards to estate matters. Now it says estate matters. That takes us back to the definition of interest. Doesn't that take us right back here? It is application to lands or things real. It is frequently used in connection with the terms estate right, and title. What is the title in the trust, or what is the title that you're dealing with? When you're dealing with an account, what is the title to that account? What's the title? Tell me what the title is. Nope, not equitable. What's the title? Come on, y'all. Y'all know this. Come on. What's the title? Okay, so the question is, so when we sign as grantee settler, do we still have to pay the debt? You have to take it a step further and deal with the title. So tell me what the title is. Okay, okay, okay. So you got two different titles going on. All right, you got legal title and you got equitable title. And having title is a form of ownership, but you have to ask yourself a question. Do you want to own the title on the liability side or the asset side? Because there's two sides to the title. There's two sides to the bank statement. There's two sides to the credit card agreement. There's two sides to the loan. There's two sides to everything. So do you want to be on the asset side or do you want to be on the liability side? Right, we obviously want to be on the asset side. Everything operates in duality, okay? There is a private side to everything that you see. When you walk outside every day and you look out into the world, there is a private side to everything that you see. There's a hidden side to it. Everything is in duality. The key is to express your interest in the asset side of the ledger. Exactly like the father and son. The Most High operates in duality. The enemy operates in threes. That's a principle that y'all are going to want to remember. The Most High operates in duality. The enemy operates in threes. Exactly. There's a duality. All right. So we want to always claim our interest from the asset side of the ledger. The asset side of the ledger. All right. Okay, so you're going to go through the guide. You are going to deal with these questions. because you should know the answers to these questions by now because we're in day 3, right? What's the difference between the SS individual and the real man or woman? What is trust res? You want to look that definition up. You should know why you are obligated to pay. The trust was misconstrued. Remember, you were placed in a debtor position. It automatically defaulted to creditor or debtor-creditor relationship. What risks are you taking by not transferring your debts into a trust? What is the most pressing issue that you're having? All right. What provisions or protections do I have in place to mitigate disputes or challenges to the methods that you may use? So if you try to deal with your interest, expressing your beneficial owner interest on the asset side of the ledger, what protections do you have in place to be able to deal with how they respond? Oh, because they're going to respond or they're going to ignore you. And so the key thing is to be able to deal with enforcement. Now, I know y'all want me to go deeper, but it's a 5-day challenge. It's only so much I'm going to teach y'all on Facebook because we're on a public platform, right? But again, my job is to bring forth the principle. My job is to bring forth the principle. Okay, so this is what I want y'all to do for me in the chat as we close out. All right. I want you all to put, so that you can remember this. What's your property? What is your property? We just covered it a few minutes ago. What's your property? Put it in the chat. What is your property? What's your property? Based on today's lesson. Yes, yes, everybody. What's your property? What's your property? What's your property? Come on, everybody. What's your property? I should see 32 people putting what their property is in the chat. Your property. Yes, 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 yes. My interest is my property. My interest is my property. Your interest is your property. Yes, exactly. That is property. All right. And once you know how to express your interest on the asset side of the ledger, you are moving in the right direction. Yep. And everything else. And everything else. All right. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. So definitely, definitely read back over the guide, answer those questions, and get yourself ready for day 4. All right. I appreciate you all joining the challenge this evening, engaging with the challenge. Continue to engage in the chat because, like I said, at the end of the challenge, there will be some special giveaways. So come back. We got 2 days left. Y'all are doing great. You are learning. You're getting these principles. The key is to get these principles down. You want to get these principles down. Okay. Your interest is your property. All right. So peace and love, everyone. I appreciate you joining, and I will see you all tomorrow for day 3. Deuces. Y'all have a good night.